Another day on Elden Ring. Probably the same old.
Are you ready, kids?
Eh?
I can't hear you.
Yo!
Oh,
No way, they did it, bro.
is it a pineapple under the
First DLC drop! Oh my god, let's go! Alright. Alright, let's get into this one. Oh my god, bro. Another week, another live commentary. This one's a tough one, right? I'm just gonna say it straight away. There is not a lot to talk about lately with this game. At a very big standstill. This game currently. You know, the meta currently is what it is. There's still time. I'm not saying there's not time. There's definitely still time for things to be discovered, but it's very much, you know, established already. What the good Ash of Wars are, the good weapons, the good setups. The more broken stuff hasn't changed at all. We still don't know really what to be doing against things like Double Nagi and Estoc. I've tried something that an old friend had recommended, using like this halberd show tell type thing. It's okay, it's good, you know, it does like anywhere from 100 to 140 through chip. But with regen being the way it is, I don't really see it being much of a counter. Like, it's a super slow way to kill a turtle. I'll be using the weapon shortly in the commentary. But yeah, it's just one of those things. Like, it's such a struggle to say something as a solid counter against something like turtle. At least right now, there's not much. But anyway, onto an actual topic. I hate, and I fucking mean this, I hate this area. This area you see right now, hate it. Dog shit area. Why are we here? Oh, this area blows. I hate it. Here's why I hate it. Okay. It's so like tailored to the people ganking, right? Maybe it's because I'm not usually an invader. Like, I started invading very late into Dark Souls 1. But I've always been a person that has preferred duels, right? I don't like this area because, like, if you are in like a 3v1, 2v1 situation, you kind of want to be using the PvE, because look at my co-invaders, they don't do much. You want to be using the PvE. And there's not a lot of it in this area. Now, don't get me wrong, somebody's going to say, oh, you can use the lobsters. Use the lobsters. Okay, fair. There's lobsters. You can use the lobsters. Good fucking luck getting any of the whites or the host. Good luck getting any of them to come anywhere near the PvE, bro. This area is bad, and for another reason it's bad is if you're, because there's a lot of water around the area. The most of the area is water, right? If you're not using lightning infused weapons, say if you're using like a weapon art that is fire related, it's getting nerfed just by being in the fire. But on the flip side of that, lightning is so strong in this area. All of your weapons should be lightning in this area, in my opinion, if you can manage it. I don't know. I just don't like the open world PvP is something I do not like. When we've got areas like Leyndell, the capital, you know, you can invade from East Capital Rampart and you can get a fair few invasions there. I know why. Don't get me wrong. I know why we are here. I know why we are currently here. It's because everybody else is currently here. This is the place to go. You will instantly invade somebody every time if you come here. People like this. This glitch, I could have sworn was not in the game anymore. But here it is. You can still somehow ride your horse in PvP. I don't know how it's done, but yeah, that's there. But like, the reason why we're here is because everybody else is here. I personally, though, would rather it be in a legacy dungeon like Capital. Capital is a perfect area in terms of the PvE that the invader can use. The verticality is very good. You can't AFK farm in Leyndell because you can't use the horse there. Legacy dungeons like Stormvale, all of these great places that we're not using, instead we're choosing to use this like part of the open world, which has just got like such a massive area for the host and the his co-op to just run away from you. Again, like, say you're in a 3v1 situation, the host loses both of those phantoms, it's now a 1v1. I've had multiple hosts just run away from me infinitely, like across the level. There's not really much to stop it. This is interesting though, and this will bring me on to another topic: AFK farming. It's bad, bro. There's so much of this just going on, like people on top of rooftops. Watch how crazy they get there when you get up there. They're like, oh no, no, please. It's crazy, bro. There's just so many of these people AFK farming now, and there's videos out there showing you how to do it, why to do it. The video is always titled like, oh, 20 million in 5 minutes soul farm, and then they've got a fucking link to their to that website where you can buy like a river of blood for like £5 or something, $5. It's one thing if the person is actually AFK, because you can kill them. With the cannon, it's very you can reliably kill them. Not always. I'm not going to sit here and say that it's always an option. Sometimes it isn't. Sometimes you do just have to leave and accept defeat. But there are multiple people, and I have seen like because everybody knows that you can do that jump now. You will see like a guy and his co-op just up there, because they can both just go up there. He'll put his sign on the roof, and then they're both up there just shooting arrows down on top of you. And that jump that you saw can only be done on that building. There are other buildings in lakes that people can just get on top of, and they can't be reached. You can't reach them, which is another reason. Like, well, it's not another reason. It goes back to the point of why do we not just use the legacy dungeons? Another thing I wanted to talk about just quickly, like, it's not like a big like thing, but it's becoming more and more prevalent, is that FromSoft has always made these like choices, like, try to put new mechanics into the game, and I actually really like that we have a compass that shows us where the host is. I do really like that, especially because when you're in the open world, there's so many places that the host could be, and it's kind of nice that the invader doesn't show up on the compass, so they kind of have that element of surprise still. But why, FromSoft, did you make it so that the host will not appear on the compass if they are using the mimic? That is such a strange like decision to make, because when you are near the host, when you're relatively close to the host, they will not appear on the compass anymore. But if the host is mimicked, which is what I think triggers it, I'm just going off of like word of mouth here, like, I'm not 100% sure what triggers it. It could be the mimic. Some people said it's crouching or something like that. But why did you make it so that especially it really rears its ugly head when it's in the open world, because then you've completely eliminated like the engagement of PvP, which I guess is the point, I guess, for the host. But that is such a strange decision to have made, to make it so that the host can just not appear on the compass. I don't know. What? FromSoft, why? Why you always got to do these weird things, bro? I've never understood. It's like Now, maybe they could revert these changes. Honestly, I remember in Dark Souls 3, for example, for those of you that played that, which is the majority of you, um, seed, seed of a tree of giants that lasted forever. I'm pretty sure. Once it was used, it lasted until the host had reset the world or something, and eventually it got patched so that it ran out. So you weren't stuck in a world where you couldn't use anything to your advantage against three other people. So it could be that they address the whole not appearing on the map with the mimic thing, but it just seems so intentional that it's kind of scary to think that From won't do anything about it. And it's the same thing with things like Bloodhound Step. Bloodhound Step seems to be working intentionally, you know, at least in their eyes. I've used Bloodhound Step. I started using it a little bit more, actually. I actually said, you know what, fuck it. If it's gonna be this way, I'm gonna use it, because everybody else is. And so I started using Bloodhound Step a little bit, and I'm not trying to throw my ego out there or anything, but as soon as I was using Bloodhound Step, I was never losing. It wasn't every now and then I'd lose, normal, because everybody loses their invasions or their duels every now and then. But as soon as I was using Bloodhound Step, I would have to try to lose, using that thing. And it's bad when a bad player is using it. It's really bad and oppressive when a player that isn't very good at the game is using it. There's so many clips from G9 as well. You can go watch anybody's stream, any good player's stream. You can go watch that Veil guy, Veil. I'm not 100% sure. I'm very sorry. You can go watch Nash. You can go watch Harce. You go watch that Mook guy. There's a bunch of others. Go and watch their streams. These are all decent players. These are all really good players. As soon as somebody is using Bloodhound Step, you can just feel the mood. You can feel the mood change in these people. There are still people that will just justify it in the chat. Oh, it's not too bad. Yeah, try being as popular as some of these streamers, and just everybody you come against stream sniping you, doing the same shit over and over. Dual Nagi, Bloodhound Step, River of Blood, fucking Stars of Ruin, just spamming it from max range. Oh, and this is another thing. Carian Retaliation. I don't remember if I touched on this in the previous video, but Carian Retaliation is in such a strange spot with people, okay? Because you have this mechanic that, it is working as intended. It really is. However, I don't think FromSoft, they must have just skipped a day in development or something, because you cannot fucking tell me that they intended for that thing to do 5,000, 4,000 damage. And so it's in this very strange spot, because if you're fighting a mage and you use Carian Retaliation, that mage casted a spell at you and you parried the spell successfully. Now, it doesn't take a lot of doing. It's not hard to parry the spell in this game. It's actually super easy. You can do it with your eyes closed. But it's intended. It's intended for you to counter certain spells and incantations and stuff like that. I do not think it's intended for you to do it off your own scraps, for example, or the bell, the bell that just uses FP and it's infinite. I think that Carian Retaliation, it needs some kind of different way that it's scaled. I have no idea how they're scaling Carian Retaliation. But what I do know is it needs to change, because on one hand it is fair, and I know there's a bunch of people thinking right now, what the fuck is he talking about fair? It kills you instantly. Listen, the mechanic is fair. The way the mechanic works is fair. I just genuinely think that FromSoft skipped balancing it, because if a guy is going to cast Stars of Ruin at you, it's very nice to have something like Carian Retaliation to absorb it. You're going to get hit by a little bit of it still, but it's a good way to have that counter against mages. But that doesn't mean that the mage needs to be one shot as soon as they've casted anything. Like, it just makes mage builds like completely redundant. There's no reason to use a mage if the person is using Carian Retaliation. You can dodge Carian Retaliation by simply running or moving to the side, right? You typically you want to be running because it just increases your chances of dodging it. But like desync in Dark Souls 1, desync, for those of you that don't know, you could do something in Dark Souls 1. It was like stepping in and out of the trigger space in order for the homing crystal or pursuers to cast on the client side, but not on, you know, the person that you are fighting. You can do that in this game without doing any of like the back and forth type, you know, in that proc space. Carian Retaliation just simply doesn't proc on the side of the person that's being, you know, shot at. So it can't possibly be working the way that it should be. Like, why? FromSoft, why? I'm sitting here really trying to like justify something like this because there's so many people that don't like it, and I understand because it should not be one-shotting everybody. But it's a good mechanic still. It's a brilliant mechanic. Because like I said, if somebody is casting Stars of Ruin, you can parry some of it, right? And you will still get hit by some of the Stars of Ruin. You'll still take some damage, but at least then you've got this Homing Crystal Soulmass to use to your advantage. It means that mages have to be a little bit more careful when they're thinking about casting something. But it defeats the purpose if, as soon as that mage has casted something, whether you got hit by any part of the spell or not, they then have to deal with this one shot. There needs to be something that determines how much damage Carian's going to do, because you know, if it doesn't matter if a person shot a little soul arrow at you, they could shoot the soul arrow at you, or they could shoot that fucking moon spell at you, right? It's gonna do the same amount of damage. It doesn't matter. Bro, it's crazy. FromSoft are nuts when they make these games, and it's going to bring me on to another point. I know that this video is all over the place. Trust me, I am trying. I am really trying, because there's nothing to fucking talk about, really. Another thing that I want to talk about is just the comparison to other games PvP, like the other games in the series. And this, I put in brackets on this note, self-reflection, because I'm guilty of this as well, as a lot of us are. It is unfair, in my opinion, to really say that this PvP is garbage. It's very easy to do so because of the amount of things in the game that ruin the game's PvP. But it is not, and I've made this point many times, but it bears repeating that it's very early. We are so early in this game's life cycle. Now, in all fairness, I did say to somebody yesterday, you know, the game's only like just under 2 months old, and I feel like I've been playing it for 3 years, because like I said at the start of this video, nothing has changed. But I still think the comparison to be like, oh, compared to Dark Souls 3, this game's PvP is garbage. Dark Souls 3 has had like 5 years to get to where it is now. Dark Souls 1 has had 10 years. Dark Souls 2, 8 years. Bloodborne, I don't know. As far as I'm concerned, the game doesn't exist. But the comparison to these games is unfair. And if you do constantly compare the game that you come from, if you're a Dark Souls 3 player and you compare the game to Dark Souls 3 all the time, you're not going to enjoy it, because and here's why. Here's exactly why. Because the game plays so much like a game that you're so familiar with, and you want to, and because of that, you want to play it the way that you played Dark Souls 3. But the mechanics that are in place and the way some things are, the meta is different. The meta to a lot of people sucks. In my opinion, it sucks. But again, it's somebody said in a chat. This is like a friend of mine, a very good friend of mine. He said like, I agreed with what you said in the last video. I've stopped using cold on like all of my stuff, right? And I said something along the lines of, cold should be used by everybody, but it's pointless right now using something that completely trivializes the PvP. Something like Storm Stomp, something like Bloodhound Step, something like Turtle, Fingerprint, you know. And I look at these things and I say to myself, if just one of these things were addressed, Fingerprint, Bloodhound Step, status being so ridiculously strong, that the game's PvP would be so much more enjoyable for so many people. Because at its core, the game's PvP is really good. It's in a better position than most of the games in the series where they started. The start of this game has been pretty nice. I remember when the game came out and I uploaded Crouch Catch, I thought that Zwei, or Greatsword, Ultra Greatsword in general, was going to be a big fucking problem. It's nothing compared to what we have to deal with now. And that just shows you that the meta can shift so quickly. You know, everybody was worried about Ultra Greatsword. It's nothing now. People are so like, it's built into them to reaction roll to Ultra Greatsword now. But just one of these things that, trust me, I understand it hurts the PvP so much. It really does hurt the PvP to be, again, like I said in a previous video, fundamentally better than the person you're fighting. But because they storm stomped you, like you reacted to a whiff and they got instant hyper armor on something that also gives you a guaranteed hit confirm, it sucks. It really does. But just one little change from FromSoft. If FromSoft put out a patch that said Bloodhound Step received a nerf, blah blah blah, FP consumption, stamina consumption, everybody would jump for joy. People would rejoice. Finally, whiff punishing matters again. You know, I just think it's super early. We're still, this game is like a baby. It's so early. We don't know if it's going to turn into Hitler or it's going to be the next, if it's going to be the next Danny DeVito. We don't know yet. But that's pretty much it. Yeah, this video was all over the place. I'm sorry. It'll be better next time. I'm sure something will come up, something worth talking about. But nonetheless, I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.